Hello, folks. It's nice to be here. Uh, Let me explain. I think some of you know that I was one of the translators and the editor of the Antonin Artaud anthology, published by City Lights in 1965. In 1964, I went over to Paris to do the final collection of stuff, and across the street from the house where I lived in Paris was a bookstore, and in that bookstore was a magazine called 84, and this magazine had a work by Antonin Artaud that is not in the anthology, and this is the first time it's ever been read. I translated it in 1965, and it's just been among my papers. So I'm going to read this last text of Antonin Artaud, who, as you know, began as a surrealist and was in touch with André Breton for most of his life, but then he broke from surrealism and went off in the way that this poem will suggest, where he took his mind. Okay? Here it goes. Thoughts don't go from one thing to another by successiveness or perspiration, because the whole point is knowing what I want. When thinking about a Christian, it's the Jew who shows his head, and that's why lovingly I throw myself at the Jew in order to defend him when I'm fighting him. Who else should I give an account of my sin to? To the curve of the wing of that angel, or the moving light? To what wandering photo fungus, or what assembly of stinking baboons armed with crosses, setting up enemas of the cross, stinking dirty linen, incense, oils, etc., the sweating wraps of myself with myself? Who's everything? Who's exiting? Has matter been lying to you? Or isn't it really only the thought of God flashing and living on sacrilege alone? They live, yes, off sacrilege, by sitting down, by shitting on God's body, by inventing shit with this body, by having been pulled from the body of shit. We are enveloped by an inferior humanity, a wicked and pernicious humanity which sinks its roots into the bodies of men all day long, in which at certain moments vampires are discovered who move and behave as brutally as they do. Beings do not emerge into the outer light of day. They have the power to shoot up only in the subterranean night where they exist, and for all the eternities of their passing time and the time to come, not one has ever been produced. You have to wait for the hand of the man to take hold of and shape them, for only the innately predestined man has this awful and ineffable capacity to soar from the human body to the light of nature and plunge himself into nature's light, where the sun will marry him at last. Body is body. It's all around, and it doesn't need an organ. The body is never an organism. Organisms are enemies of the body. The things we create all pass each other without meeting. My organ is a parasite. Is a parasite. It recovers parasitic functions destined to make a being who ought not live there. Reality hasn't yet been constructed because the true organs of the human body haven't yet been composed and placed. The theater of cruelty was created to undertake a detour from this world of microbes, which is only the coagulation of nothing via of the body of man. The theater of cruelty wants to make eyelids dance in pairs, as well as elbows, kneecaps, femurs, and big toes. And you can be sure you'll see that. Postscriptum, here, where there is metaphysic of the mystique of irreducible dialectic, I hear the large intestine of my hunger within, and under the impulse of its somber life, I prompt my hands into their dance, as well as my feet and my arms. The theater and the dance of the song, it's to me are the theater of furious revolts from the misery of the human body before the problems that it doesn't penetrate, or whose passive, specious, ergodic, impenetrable, unavoidable character wearies me out. Then it dances through blocks of ha, ha, infinitely more barren but organic. Postscriptum, who am I? Where do I come from? I'm Antonin Artaud, and I say it as only I know how to, and you will see my real body bursting into sparks collected under 10,000 notorious looks as a new body which you'll never be able to forget, for it's me, the man, who will be the judge in the final reckoning. It's to me that all the elements of body and things will come down to be referred. It's the state of my body will shape the last judgment. Where am I going infinitely? What is this nothingness? How did I come from the infinite? What was this that nothingness hampered by something? What? God. What is that? An idea of worlds within worlds. You have to reduce all that and rediscover the pure infinite.
Yes.